Hello, everyone. I have another awesome quality story from my audience, so let's get into it. So, this story took place when I was super young. I was like, probably, I'm gonna say super young, so like, I was probably in grade two, three, maybe four, the most, somewhere around there. Um, at this time, our family was living together in one big household, and the reason why that is because at that time, both of my family members were having issues with money, so everyone decided to live together. So we basically lived with other family members, and it was actually, as little kids, it was kind of cool actually thinking about it, because you're not bored. You're always with your family member. You always have little cousins around. Well, I wouldn't say little cousins because they're all around. We're all the same age, but um so yeah, so we end up buying. I think they end up buying it or rent. I'm not too sure if it was buying or renting. I'm not too sure, but it was a really cool starter house. It was so cool because if you look outside of the house, like if you look inside the outside, right, it looks so small, but when you go inside, it's actually really big house, right? It's kind of cool how some houses look small on the outside but huge in the inside. And the coolest thing about the whole house that me and my family members loved was the backyard. We had a huge backyard with like it was one of the older backyards, but it was really cool. It had a deck in there. Um, you know, we experimented a lot with like finding a lot of bugs, creatures, lizards, skunks, raccoons. We experienced everything as a little kid in that backyard. It was a there was big, huge trees that were really tall that we couldn't reach, but we thought they were cool. There was like I don't know, these I don't even know what they're called, but they're like hard and when you get them under close, they're hard to get out. Our parents used to complain about us trying to be careful with getting those stains because they're hard to get out. Like you really have to scrub the pants and you have to wash them like two times to get the stains out of these things that were in the. It's like a certain type of. I don't know if it's a fruit or I don't know. The squirrels eat them, but they were really cool. We used to throw them at the wall and stuff, and they used to like crack all over the place, explode. It's really cool. Um, we used to play in the backyard all the time. We used to play soccer, baseball. We used to run around. It was pretty cool time. And it's not like the parents couldn't see us because there was two rooms in the back that, well, there was actually three rooms in total. Um, but yeah, they could look in the back. We thought it was really cool. The one thing that we all enjoyed as a kid is watching the storm and waking up in the morning. I remember that. It was the coolest thing ever. Seeing the storms, you can tell the storms, you can see, the land and you can see trees down, it was pretty cool. Especially as a little kid, it was pretty cool. Yeah, it was not a bad house. It was pretty, living with like I think four little kids, three, something like that. But it was pretty cool. We always had babysitters. There was always more than one person around. It was pretty cool. Starter house. I remember that. It was pretty cool. Um, you know, I remember to this day, and it was a pretty cool house. We were always little kids are always getting into mischief. If we walked anywhere, like to the store or anything, we would obviously have to have a parent with us because we're young, or we'd have to go together as a group. Kids stick together, type thing. It was pretty cool. Um, it was a pretty cool time remembering it. You know, um, the one thing we did do that wasn't very smart. We probably did a lot of things that weren't very smart as little kids and stuff. But so what ended up happening one time, actually there was, yeah, so, we're all playing soccer in the backyard, right? You're just playing soccer, going back and forth. Well, we have a basement, and we have a attendant that lives in the basement, right? And he's a really cool guy. He's chilled. He talks to us. He says, "Hey, how you doing?" He's kind of the guy that keeps to himself. Um, he says he enjoys fishing a lot. He says he eats a lot of fish, chicken, and stuff. Stuff like that. It's pretty cool. And when we were younger, we used to be able to smell the food that he cooks. It smells good. We used to tell him that the food smells good. He's like, "Oh, thank you," And it was pretty cool. He was a he was a little older than our parents. He was an older guy. When we were younger, he was already at the retired age. Like he was already retired from work. And he says he takes off with his friends and he basically goes fishing all day. That's what he loves to do is fish, catch fish and stuff. And he says he'll go up north and stuff. And he says he has a cabin up there. So there's sometimes that we were there and he'd be gone for like 2 or 3 weeks, and then he'd come back home. But there was one time we didn't know, we didn't mean to. We were playing soccer, and the ball ended up. We didn't expect it to like go into the window, but like somehow the ball we kicked it, it hit the window, and we thought it would go lightly, but it actually went down into the basement. Like it actually smashed the window, and these windows weren't very good glass, but I mean all glass is not very strong anyways. But so we were all scared. We were all sitting there. We were all sitting there, you know, and we had no way, so we just act like we didn't know what happened. We just went inside because we knew we were gonna be in trouble. We were sitting inside. We were just playing around. We didn't know what was going on. And yeah, we just act like nothing happened. Nobody said anything for the longest time, so we were like, "Whoa, we're in the scare because we knew we were gonna get in trouble." And then eventually, so I guess the guy in the basement came home. He looked around, and I guess he talked to the parent from the basement, and and the parent asked us if we have been around the window or anything, and we're like, nope, we haven't been. Have you seen anybody around? And we're like, nope, and I guess it hit the window, and I guess what ended up happening, how they figure it out it was us, is because the guy downstairs has I guess a safety thing, like I guess protection, like a camera and stuff. Um, you know, he had like a camera. I don't know how he had it set up. Um, because we only went down there. We didn't go down there because he kept to himself. We kept to ourselves. Everyone's fairly quiet, you know. And he had his own little room, and he had his camera. He had technology in there, and a camera and stuff, and it was pretty cool. And yeah. So what he ended up asking the parents is asking our parents, "Oh, I could see in the camera. Did your kids wear these type of shoes?" So then my parent went and checked the shoes and said, "Yeah." And then boom, then we're in trouble. Um, you know, but parents like, you know, telling us that you're grounded. I can't believe you did that. It would have been better if you admitted it instead of acting like nothing happened. You could have admitted it and said, "I'm sorry." We could have talked to him. He wouldn't be as mad, but because you sat there and not admit anything and act like you did nothing wrong, he would be mad. But the guy downstairs was fairly, very nice about it. He wasn't mad about it. He wasn't upset. He says accidents happen. He says kids are going to be kids, boys are going to be boys. Accidents happen, nobody's hurt, everybody's fine. Like he was very nice about it. And when we saw him again, we said sorry about the window. And he says, "You know what?" He's like, "You know what? Accidents happen. It's okay." And he just told us, the next time something like that happens, you make an accident, I would rather you come and tell me and say, "I'm sorry, I made a mistake, and we can fix it together," instead of not saying anything and we worry about somebody damaging my property, something like that. So he's really nice. Yes, we got the punishment. Yes, we got in trouble. Yes, we were grounded. But at the end of the day, we learned a lesson. And at the end of the day, the guy was super nice. You know, and yeah. So Thank you everyone for listening to my story. I hope my audience can relate to my story in some sort of way. I really appreciate it. I will see you tomorrow with another awesome quality video. Thank you.